Shalom Aleichem, Rabbi. This is the week of Naso and the week of Shavuos, Tavshin Ein Gimel, 2013. We have the week of Shavuos and Naso. Now, what can we talk about Naso? Well, Naso happened to be unique. You know why? Naso was the biggest Seder in the Torah. What do you mean biggest? Yeah, the most Pesukim. So you say, so some Seder has to have the most. How many Pesukim does it have? Oh, now we're focusing in on what I want to say. It has 176 Pesukim, yeah, so the most Pesukim, other Seders have more words, but this has the most Pesukim. 176, so you say, well, some Seder got to be the most. I know. When you look a little deeper, what is the biggest Masechta in Torah Sheba'al Peh? Baba Basra. 176 black. No, if we could pick a third thing, it would be a Chazaka. We got Torah, Shebiksav. We got the Gemara, Baba Basra, Torah Sheba'al Peh. Maybe in Tanakh something. Yes, sir. In Tehillim. 119. To mind your apple 8 times. You'll see in 119 Tehillim there's 176 Pesukim. 8 Pesukim starting with Aleph. Then 8 Pesukim with Beis. 8 Pesukim with Gimel. No, there's 22 letters. 8 times 22 is 176. What are you trying to tell me here with this numerology? I told you many times, if you don't know numerology, you're left out of the, you're out. Everything is numbers. That's where the secrets of the Torah are. So, something very long is 176. Very long. The word le'olam, very long, is also 176. So you say, okay, so come on, tell me. So if you go to the Mefarshim over there in Tehillim, Kuf Yotes, you'll see they talk about it. They'll say, well, it happens to be 176 is 8 times 22. 4 times 44 is the same thing. And 2 times 88 is the same thing. What's with 8 and 22? 8 is the future. L'asad lavo. 7 is this world. 7 days of the week. 7 suas. When the tefillin and the collar goes around 7 times, and the Yom Tif is 7 days, and the Shiva 7 days, and I have a list on Torah anytime, the 49 things that are 7. 7 is this world, 8 is supernatural. That's why the infinity sign is an 8, turned sideways. L'asad lova, supernatural. 22 is called our Torah Kula, is only written with 22 letters. We only have 22 letters. After those 2 numbers, those 2 are numbers. 8 times 22. If you want eternity, 8, learn Torah. You're guaranteed of eternity. The Torah should be Sam, a lot of Sedras, but Naso is the biggest. Exactly 8 times 22. Why did you pick Naso? Could have picked something else. That's another question. But it happens to be, one of them is 8 times 22. Why Baba Basra, not something else? That's another question. Look into what Baba Basra discusses, and look into what this discusses, and what that ever discusses. You'll see all of them is about numbers. Here, the whole set is about numbers. And last week we started with numbers, and we continue. Numbers is very important. There's no end number. It's infinite. And there's no end to Torah Sheba'al Peh. It's infinite. There's no end to the depth of Torah Shebiksav. I know it's only 5 books, but every letter, everything has the letter is big, the letter is small. It has a male ending when it should have female ending, a female one has male, and some letters are funny shaped, and it has some have targin on, some don't have targin, some all kind of gematrias, Rosh Hashanahs. It's infinite. Torah knowledge is infinite. Torah Sheba'al Peh is infinite, Torah Shebiksav, and so Nach also. If you learn Torah, you're guaranteed infinity. Because you're a neshama person. And the neshama is a chelek elokim mimal, and he's infinite. Ein Sof. No end. Infinite means Ein Sof. Even the universe is finite. Only Hashem is infinite. Ein Sof is only Him. You think that the world, the universe is infinite? We're not. We're just beginners in this wheel of science. Millions of light years away. No. Eventually it ends. Only Hashem is Ein Sof. From 30 years and older, because your Levi cannot do the heavy load lifting till 30 and 50. After 50 he does other aboda, not muscle. It's not heavy work. He comes a singer, has to bring in karbonos, he has to sing. All karbonos accompanied with singing. All karbonos must have singing. That's why when you go to Beis HaMedrash, they learn Gemara with Nigun. And davening has Nigunim. Life is happy if you understand where you came from, where you're going to. That's called your heritage and your destiny. You have to know where you're coming, where you're going, and make sense. Otherwise, life is senseless. The more brilliant you become, the more insane you become. If you're not a Torah, the more you see the sheker of this world, this world's not sheker at all if you turn it around to the right thing. But if you don't have really some high goals, the more intelligent you are, the more insane you become. Because you see, it's all government's liars, and nobody's honest. Everybody's crooked, thieves and cheats. Everything is distorted history when they write history. The only book that's emes is this, or a Gemara. Everything else is distorted. One man's opinion, and another guy writes another opinion about that war, that country history, of that medicine, and then they change it 50 years later. No, Dr. So-and-so was wrong, and now this disease comes from this reason. Torah never changes. Never! Because it's accurate. It comes from the Borei Olam. So, Naso. And it says over here, I'm trying to give you some highlights. And right in the beginning, when no Levi ever came into the Mishkan, ever. Never. Only Kohanim. They never went in and saw the golden Mizbeach, or the menorah, or the Shulchan, or the Aron, which the Kohen sees once a year. They saw the outside Mizbeach, the Mizbeach HaNechoshes, and the Kiyar and the Kano, but they didn't see the other 5 Kalim. 4. There's Aron, menorah, Shulchan, and Golden Mizbeach. Those 4 nobody saw except Kohanim. He says, get the Kohanim are the ones that do the Malacha. They do all the 15 steps of bringing carbon, and Levi helps them. And Levi helps the Kohen. Brings the meat, he holds the meat, and they sing during the Karbonos. And when he gets older, these guys who can't sing, they become watchmen at the gates. They watch 24 different places to watch. Not for burglars. Honor guard, nothing to do with burglars. They're watching as an honor guard. And Levi helps the Kohen. Levi does a lot of work. Therefore, in Eretz Yisrael, we have to give Meiser 10% of our money. That's his pay. That's the only Shevi that doesn't own real estate. Shevi Levi means Kohen and Levi. We have to support the Levi with Meiser and the Kohen with Truma. How come Truma is only 2% and Meiser 10%? Because the Levi only gets one thing: 10% of our salary, and animals and vegetables and grains. And the Kohen has 24 matanos. Of course, he gets 2% of the grain only, because he gets the pidyon aben of the 5 shkolim, and he gets the firstborn cow, sheep, and goats, and he gets rashis hagez, the first shearing of a wool. He gets 24 matanos, every parts of the karbonos. So the Kohen covers up these kohanim, cover up when they travel the Aron. They had his own sack, and the menorah, and the shulchan, and the golden mizbeach, and the outside mizbeach had to be covered too. And the Leviim, after it's all covered up, they can come in when it's disassembled, and they can carry it. So the Gershonites carried the material, the curtains and everything, and they loaded it on the wagon. And then when they came to another place, they had to take off the wagon, put it up. And then when they traveled, they take it down. And then Merari, they carried the metal poles and the beams and the sockets and everything. And they took it apart and put it up and then they put it on the wagon. Kahas never put anything on any wagon. They carried it on wooden platforms with 2 poles on their shoulders. They carried the Aron the whole way through the Midbar. And the family of Levi called Kahas. They carried it, and the menorah, and the Aron, and the golden mizbeach, and the shulchan. These were heavy things. And they carried it on their shoulders. Nope. Some of these things weigh tons. The mizbeach hanachoshes was 10 amos tall. That's 20 feet. Bigger than your house. And it was 10 amos. It was 5 amos by 5 amos. Yeah, 5 amos, 10 feet by 10 feet by 10 feet by 10 feet. 20 feet tall. 10 amos is 20 feet. They had to carry that. And it was coated with copper, a wooden shell, hollow inside, covered with copper, and at 20 feet they put the bowl in the middle. That means 10 feet. My shoulder's only, if I'm 6 feet, my shoulder's 5 feet. How can I carry something with the poles are sticking out at 10 feet if my shoulder's 5 feet? They have said they were anakim, they were giants. Or for that moment they just grew tall and their shoulder picked up the pole and not going to pick it up. Very, very, very heavy. So it says, an ace happened. No say as no sub. It picked up its carriers. You put your shoulder underneath it. First of all, you had to jump. You had to become 10 pound. You had to be 20 feet, 10 feet tall. Shoulder had to be 9 feet tall. So, and but the person was only 3 amos, 6 feet. And then they just became big at that moment. And nakimitzes. And they carried shoulder. And as soon as they put the head under the shoulder under to pick it up, to do the maximum effort, all of a sudden they were levitated off the ground. It said they were elevated between heaven and earth. That means 1 inch off the ground. What's the difference, 1 inch or 2 inches or 20 inches or 50 inches? You're levitating. It carries you. That teaches you in life. You want to accomplish something, it looks like it's impossible. You do yours. Hashem takes care of his. You do the best you can. Hashem will open your mind to learn Torah and absorb stuff you never thought you could. Just like last week's Parshas, Schwab Midbar, Moshe said, I can't count all the baby Leviim. Can't go into a tent. It's not nice. Adults, I can say, how many adults in here? I can see 8, 10, 6. But how can I care? Maybe the mother has 3 little kids there. Maybe man has 2 wives, 3 wives, 6 little nursing kids. How can I do that? I can't go into 10. It's not sneeze. So Hashem said to Moshe, you go to the tent, and I'll take care of it. He went and knocked on the tent, and all of a sudden the baskol came out. In this tent is 6 little infants. He wrote it down, 6 little infants. Moshe, you do yours, it says in Rashi. I'll take care of the rest. You try the best you can, like by picking up these heavy kalim. You try the best, I'll take care of the rest. You put out the maximum effort. Leave the results up to me. So, now the Aron. Aron was a metal box, 2.5 amos, 5 feet, by 1/2, 3 feet, by 2.5 amos. It was 2.5 by 1/2, and it was 10 tefachim tall, 36 inches, 10 fists, 40 inches, 36 inches, 3 feet, a yard tall, no legs, like a coffin. Inside was the Aron. In the Aron were 3 Aron. First was outside was gold, inside was wood. Third inside was gold. Inside was the luchos, the sapphire tablets that Moshe got up from Shaim, the smashed ones and the good ones, and the second luchos. Weighed a lot. And then on top was a kapores, solid 24 karat gold, 2.5 ounce, 5 feet long, 3 feet wide. A tefach 4 inches thick of solid gold. Besides costing millions of dollars, probably weighed 300-400 pounds. 500, I don't know. They put it on a platform, they put it in 2 poles, and Hashem said, I'll take care of it. And they picked up the Aron and the menorah, which was 3,000 shkolim, about 250 pounds. Because every shekel was about an ounce, shekel like Kodesh. 3,000, I think 150 pounds. Lit. It traveled lit with a cover over it. And the Vech HaZohar, where the guitarist was on, was lit, burning, with the cover on top, al pinais. And the Mizbech and the Choshes outside had a little section with little wood burning all the time, like a pile of light. That was lit. That didn't go out. And they carried this stuff in the midbar. And they could never see it, the Levim could never see it uncovered. Last week said it said, ends with, Moshe, don't kill the Kahasim who carry these 4 kalim. Well, all 5, but 4 of them are inside. Because if you let them see it while it's uncovered, you're going to kill them. Now be sure you put them in a sack before the Kahasim come. The Kahas carry the kalim. How are you going to remember what Gershon Kahasim were already carrying? I have a way to a mnemonic device. Gershon, Gimel, Gashmias, they carry the material. You know, the first cover made out of wool, 3 colors, types of wool. And then the next one was the skin of the goats, that's called cashmere, black. And then they had Tchashim on top, a ram skin dyed red, and then that was Elim Udam, and then Tachash, that animal that had a horn in the front of his head for Moshe Rabbeinu was made. It had 6 colors. 6 colors, because Tachash is 7 or 8, and 7 and 8 is 15, 1 to 5 is 6. It had 6 colors by nature in its skin. And they had to carry that. Gashmi is Gimel. That's the way I remember. Gashmi is they had to carry the materialistic things. And Gimel, what direction were they in? East and west. East up there was Moshe and Aaron. West, south, and north. Where was the Gimel? The Gashmi is Gimel. It's like the letter W for west. W has 3 points right on top. Gimel, west. Here we're in the west. East, west. And they carried the curtains. Merari, Mem, looks like the English letter N, north. On this side. They carried the metal, right? Metal. The beams covered with gold. And the stole, the stakes and the poles and everything made out of metal, the silver sockets. Merari, Mem, looks like the N, and north, carried the metal. And the right side, Gershon, Kahas. Kahas sounds like Kalim. Kuf and Chav, you know, he carried the Kalim, the Aron, the Menorah, the Shulchan, the Mizbeach, the other Mizbeach. And they rule in the south. How do you know? Kahas. South. You have to have instant recall of Kol Torah Kula. Unless you photograph memory, you have to use Ramazim. This is what I just told you. Mnemonic devices. A remez. Torah tells us, Ein HaTorah Niknas. You cannot know the Torah. Muslim. You have to have instant recall. If a person asks you a question, you can't say, well, I think, let me look it up. Ein says, who's the Talmud Chacham? Ein Megam Game Ba'omer. He doesn't stutter and then say it, but he says it. Ein Megam Game Ba'omer. Omer, he says it the first time. How do you do that? You have to have a Muslim. For thousands of different things, you have to have a device. How do you remember stuff? You're mechuyev to remember. Who's on the east, who's on the west, who's on the south, who carries what? This way, I just told you, is easy. Everything is like that. That's why you have all these things, these Russian tables, you know, and the Torah, Yaknahaz, on night of Yontiv, when Shabbos goes into Yontiv, Yain Kiddush Ner, Havdol Zman. Yeah, you know these things, or Shatnez, tell you how you can't have wool and linen that's woven, spun, combed together, Shua Torah, and those 3 things. The whole Torah is loaded with these things. You have to have these Russian tables, otherwise how are you going to remember these millions of facts? You have to have instant recall, and most of us are not geniuses, so you have to do it with the Ramazim. And the Gemara tells you, ain't the Torah in English, you can never own the Torah unless you have Ramazim, unless you have photographic memory. Okay, Rabbi Sai, one more thing and we'll close. Let me tell you something here. And before we get into that, let me tell you something that is of general interest. This week is Shavuos. Go on Torah anytime and print this down. The 26 questions on Shavuos. Torah was given, right? Hashem gave the Torah and Yud gave up, gave 26. And then go online and you'll see Megillah's Rus. 31 questions on Rus. Very interesting thing. Who wrote the Megillah? How old was Boaz and Rus at their marriage? How long did the marriage last? How come Boaz, this happens to be the word 85? Bo, 2 and 6 is 8. And Az 77, 7 8 is Boaz. 85, that happens to be that Megillah's Rus has 85 Pesukim. Yeah, so. Oh, my. Shmuel created the name Boaz. His name was Ivtson. Avtson. For this story, Shmuel Hanavi, who's a Navi, created for this story, this man, Ivtson, it's called Boaz. You know why? He had the strength. The woman crawled into his tent in the middle of the night. He didn't touch her. He's not married, she's not married, and she says, put your canopy over me, let's get married. He was 80 years old, and she was 40, and she knew, because she was the biggest Piyuris in Klal Yisrael. For her comes Mashiach. Rus, Oved, Yishai, David, Shlomo. So she knew Baruch HaKodesh, and he did Shof. If son was Boaz was a Navi and a Shofet, and he had strength. He held himself back. Bo, he had Az. But you know what else? She said she wanted to marry a man who has a bristle on the 8th day. Rus said, every Jew has the 8th day. No. She wanted to have a man who controls himself. And he stood there for 4 hours and 5, I don't know how many hours, didn't touch her. So the Gemara says, who's greater, Yosef with his encounter with Potiphar, or Boaz with Rus? Of course, Boaz is greater, because that was 4 hours, this was 1 minute. Do you really mean that anyone's greater than a biblical figure? Boaz is not a biblical figure. In Tanakh and in Nevi'im, but in Yosef Atzadik, in his generation, he was, in Boaz's generation, he did more than if Yosef would have been in that generation. He stayed away for hours. And also every single pasuk in Rus, like the first pasuk, starts with the vav. Ba yehi b'mei shvot shoftim, ba yehi vav, 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 vav. Every pasuk but 8. 77 start with a vav. Because why? Woe, vai is like in English. Woe in a generation that judges its judges. Therefore God punished them for 10 years with a row of hunger because they judged their judges. The judges said to the man, hey, mister, why do you put water in your wine? Huh? Where's your integrity as a businessman? So the little man said to the judge, and you, sir, why do you mix the gold with some other stuff? It's not 24 karat gold. You're right. There was a problem with the judges, leaders. However, he was still better than you are. You're going to tell a math professor he made a mistake in front of the class, but you're nothing and he's a math. So he made a mistake. You got chutzpah to embarrass the man in public. Yes, the judges were not living up to the 100%, but that was a chutzpah for a generation to judge their judges. But he made shvot shoftim. The b'shad is there was when the judges judge. Okay, that was before there was ever a king in Yisrael. When the Jews came into Canaan, there was 400 years before there was ever a king. Shaul, David, Shlomo. There was the time of the shoftim. All these shoftim were tzaddikim kadoshim. The local judges were crooks. But Ivitzon and Osniel ben Knas and Devorah and these people were Shmuel Hanavi. These are the biggest tzaddikim in the world. They were all from Yosef, tzaddikim gemurim. And this man, so the Megillah is written about Boaz because Boaz means Bo, 8, and Az is 77, and there's 77 Pesukim starting with a Vav, and 8 not. She wanted a man who had a meal on the 8th day. You understand what that means? Self-control. So Shmuel Hanavi created the name Boaz. The name is really Ivtzon, father of the sheep. The Gadol Hadorish, Boaz, Ivtzon. So the whole Megillah is written about this man, Boaz, and Naomi and Rus, but he took the initiative to make her pregnant, and next day, and he died the next morning. Because ain't no Adam Shem no Shah. There's no man that doesn't have his moment. That's why he was born 80 years before. To make her pregnant with Oved, then Yishai, then David, then Shlomo. Mashiach comes in that line, and when the little 12-year-old Shlomo was the king, his great-great-grandmother was sitting next to him. Rus, 160 years old. You want to know more about Rus? Go right on Torah anytime. Get all these 30 questions and answers, and 26 on Shavuos, and there's on there also 49 sevens and the questions of Sphere and Lag BaOmer and Shavuos. Okay, Rabbi, say we're done. Be good, happy, good. Chag Kosher, Chag Someach. Remember, Shavuos is only one of the 3 of Tovim that is Chatzil Hashem, Chatzil Lachem. Because to be a Torah Jew, you have to live in this world and enjoy life. Chatzil Lachem. To be a Torah Jew, you means have to go through any discipline, any lifestyle. Live it al pi Torah. Not everybody can sit and learn 18 hours a day. Chatzil Lachem. You master everything you do in life. Al pi halacha. That's what a yid is. Torah is not only theory and learning and doing nothing. No, and just learning. You have to live a real life. And interact with people and be yashar straight. That's a Torah Jew. Good answer.